Hey, hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. I'm Red Baron, and today we'll be doing a premium comprehensive review of the I-16 Type 28, which happens to be a, I believe, rank 2, battle rating 2.7 Russian fighter of the Soviet Union. It goes for about 1,350 Golden Eagles, and it's just on the far right side of the tech tree over in the premiums. It's not bought off of like the Gaijin store or anything like that. You have to be in game to actually get it, but you have to buy the Golden Eagles off the store, obviously. Having a look around the cockpit now, you can see that there's some bank indicators, some gun sights, some iron, and a reflector, which is kind of unique compared to other older Soviet ones that didn't have the iron, or only had iron sights to start out because they didn't have enough reflector sights to go around. But that was super early, after like 1940s basically, in 41, they were able to produce them and everyone had them. The thing is armed with two 20mm Shavot cannons in the wings with 150 rounds per gun, so it's about 300 in total, as you can see. Two 7.62mm Shikos machine guns nose mounted with 650 rounds per gun, 1,300 in total, which is quite a bit of firepower, as you will soon learn. And the main reason I'm doing this aircraft is because I know there is the Type 27, which for all intents and purposes is the same exact airplane as this, which sits in the main tech tree, and I believe there's like 4 or 5 different I-16s in the game, ranging from I think all the way down at like 1.7 to up to 2.7 where I am, so there's a lot of opportunity to get to enjoy them. Which, I mean, I personally really enjoy these aircraft just because they might not be the fastest, but what they lack in speed, they definitely make up in for maneuverability, and you will see a very good show of that maneuverability once I get down into the fight. You can't dive too quickly, otherwise you will rip. I believe the thing's rip speed is 700 kilometers per hour. Gear is 260 kilometers per hour. If you want to rip that off, not that you should ever want to rip that off, but that's that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get down here to save the PE3. Not that I could have done a whole lot, but I quickly picked this J22 here, quickly clap him, quickly go after this A6M here. He ends up turning. I go around, I pop flaps and use the rudder a bit, swing it around him quicker. As you can see, he's already behind me, but this thing just effortlessly, you pull back on the throttle a little bit, go back to whip, and you've got him square in your sights. Fire some shots off, let him know I'm here. Check behind. He starts slowing down. Apparently this thing is a little quicker than the A6M2, but whatever. He's pulling some rather spicy footwork. He ends up going down. Had my gunnery been better, I probably would have been able to hit him, but I didn't. So back to the maneuvering fight, which is what this thing excels in. The I-16 is basically an I-15 or I-153 without the second wing. That's really about all I can put it as. And it's just a joy to fly if you are able to fly it, whether you get the Type 27 in the main tree, or if you go right after this video and show me how good my salesmanship is and go buy the thing right off the premium line, which if you're starting out and you're new and you're not a big fan of 4 Shikos machine guns on the I-15 that you get, or the I-153, excuse me, M62, then this is a relatively cheap alternative that you can definitely buy, which will also get you more accustomed to mono-wing fights. Here comes a P-39 Airacobra. One thing I didn't want on me was that 37, which would have been lethal had that hit me. But again, the thing's maneuverability is much better than that American thing. So I wait for him to go under. He goes over me. I come up underneath. You have to use your flaps and really control the throttle. Also, watch the ground. This could have been a very embarrassing end to a rather short video, but fortunately it was not. He ends up basically presenting me his entire side. I just rip him apart with that. I thought he was going to crash, but he doesn't. So I come through, rake the guns across him again. Almost gets hit by a teammate there, and this other teammate, or BF-109, ends up getting him, and he just nosedives. I feel like that should have been my kill, because I don't think that Hormem, or whatever that guy's name is, actually critted him or damaged him in any certain way. It didn't look like that. It looked like he just nosedived, just gave up on life and committed die in the presence of this smaller Soviet monster that happens to be ruling the skies of 2.7. That is, if you're willing to pay $13.50 for it. Not dollars, $13.50 gold meals. This thing is also equipped with some bombs and some rockets. It gets two 100 kilogram Fab 100s, or two 50 kilogram Fab 50s. For the rockets, you get RS-82s and RBS-82s. I believe the RBS-82s are the lighter ones that are better for air-to-air stuff, and I believe they also get air burst, which is very, very interesting. You can go right up to a bomber, not waste your cannon ammo, fire two unguided rockets up his ass, and call it a day. And of course, being a premium, you end up making, at least between ranks 1, 2, and 3, a lot of research and XP towards other aircraft between those ranks. Rank 4 it could probably do, but by that time you might want to get another premium, which I might do a video on the LA5, or LA7, excuse me. Gold Oceans LA7, which I believe is a rank 5 or 4. I can't remember. This video's not about that. Some pros. Excellent turning ability, as I've mentioned. It would outturn any 190 and even turn fighters like the Spitfire. Extremely poor level speed, yes. It isn't the slowest, as I mentioned before, which is, you know, to be expected. I mean, it's only a 2.7. There's BF-109s and stuff floating around that are 3.7 that you will face that will outzoom you in any day, but if you can bait them into a turn fight, because they think that you're a 2.7 noob who has no clue what he's doing, you should have no issue out-turning them and killing them quite swiftly with the Shavaks. And 300 rounds is nothing to sneeze at. That's enough cannon ammo to get quite a few kills. As you can see, the machine guns are quite deadly too. This VB-33C, they almost get hit by a teammate again. Ends up getting lit up by me with just my Shikas. I wanted to kill him before I went back to base, because had he been able to straight this out, that would have been terrible. Probably would have cost us the game, even though I believe we end up winning it due to killing attackers, which, in my opinion, is not the best. But yes, that's like the first chunk of this fight. I'm going back to base now. Landing it's a little tricky. You come in a little too quickly like I did, there's a very, very good chance that you might end up just nose flopping it, which is exactly what I do, not to spoil anything. But I tend to do that a lot on the I-15 and the I-16, just because of how nose heavy they are and how light they are. Like, it's basically all engine. I mean, the next heaviest thing on board this frickin' plane is probably the guy sitting behind it, which, albeit you probably couldn't be that heavy because of how small this thing is. So, yeah, here's landing. There's my little flyout squad mate that was auto paired up with me. He did a pretty good job this game, and we almost were able to defeat a P-38, but the game ended before that happened, unfortunately. So, there comes the flip. Snap the tail off, do a 100. in a like 360-degree flop. So yeah, a couple seconds later, and I'm off the ground again. I believe that only took me about a minute and 11 seconds to repair, so it wasn't that bad of a repair. So there are 2 people left in this game. I believe one's a Hurricane who's gone off God knows where, and the other one happens to be a P-38 who was actually doing quite well for his team. He had 2 kills at this point, I believe, and there he is up to the about 10 o'clock high about. And the last thing you want to do is deal with a P-38 that's at high altitude. I mean, it's just not a good outcome for anything below them, for the most part. But we end up knocking out all the other fighters, or bombers, or whatever, the attackers, so we were able to basically win, even though I would have had this guy in my bag and would have had like 4 kills, 5 including that Ju-87 that I blew out of the air before heading back to base just to dump the last 13 rounds of cannon ammo into him. But the BF-109, that happens to be my squad mate there, is going to do something that I would not ever advise, unless you're flying a K4 with a 30mm down the prop hub, which I still probably wouldn't, just because of how slow that thing is. But he decides he's going to go nose to nose. I told him we have to cover each other because this thing's probably going to try to boom and zoom. But this is also a very good example of someone grossly underestimating what they are fighting. Obviously, a P-38 could probably outturn a BF-109 with that large elevator he has, especially at higher speeds. But he's not outturning me, and so BF-109 and P-38 go nose to nose. Not something that's very smart. P-38 turns directly towards me. I was not going to go nose to nose, so I'm off center. Quickly loop it over. Surprised he's not traveling faster than this. And immediately he wants to put it into a turn, so I oblige him, completely light him up, and that's the end of the game. Unfortunately, I don't get credited for that killing. Whatever. So here's the results. Got a crate and a man and a ward and a chest. End up getting the badge of excellence because, well, it's just an excellent plane and I'm an excellent pilot. Avenger, Shadow Strikes, Teamworks, Best Squad, Terror of the Sky. Yeah, I'm pretty much that at low tier. So, yeah, that was the I-16 Type 28 comprehensive review. It's a 2.7 again. Costs 1,350 golden eagles on the premium side of the tech tree in game. And I would highly suggest you guys go buy it if you are looking for something different than the I-153 M62 Chaika, or if you don't even have a premium for for Russia, not America. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and as always, I will see you in the next video, probably coming out tomorrow. Reds out.